It's time for the 49ers Rush podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
All right, 49ers fans, we are back with another episode of the 49ers Rush podcast. I'm your host, John Chapman, and this is the much anticipated. This is the favorite podcast of the week. The volume and the numbers and all those things continue to say you guys love previewing the enemy, getting to figure out exactly what is going on with the Green Bay Packers, and we have a huge game this week. The 49ers, it's the number 1 seed in the NFC versus the number 2 seed, the Green Bay Packers, the 8-2 Packers, the long-rivaled Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, the storylines for this game are too many. There's just way too many between the relationships between the coaches, the coaching tree, the families involved in the front office, and coaching staff all the way across to the records. The offense is identical to each other. There's just so much to get into this week. So what we're going to do today, we're going to jump through the history of the matchups. We're going to go over the spreads, what Vegas is saying, all those things, bets of the weeks, predictions, keys to the game at the very end. We're going to do a full scouting report of the offense, defense, injury updates. We're covering it all. This really should be 3 podcasts. We're throwing it into one, including all of your questions. So if you guys are with us, and I do have to get a shout out. I keep saying I'm going to do this, I appreciate the people that watch live, and if you're listening to this on your standard podcast, wherever you do listen to your podcast, just want to say thank you. Always, please hit the upvote or the heart button. That helps us out a lot here. But Niner by Nature was the first one in the chat, as always, for the live show, whether you're listening on Twitch, Periscope, Twitter, or YouTube. Just want to say thanks. Really do appreciate that. And we've got a lot of stuff to get into, but before we do that, couple things I want to talk about before we jump into the game. Number one, Frank Gore. By far my oldest son's favorite player of all time. He is 46 yards away from Barry Sanders, passing Barry Sanders for 3rd all-time rushing. So I'm very, very excited about that game. I'm going to be watching that in the corner of my eye this Sunday. Frank Gore, first ballot Hall of Famer. He continues to cement that, and he just keeps playing. It doesn't matter how old he gets. Gotta love Frank the Tank. And also I want to give a shout out to a special listener, Aiden. Huge fan of this kid, and just a real quick thing, just want to say, Aiden, a lot of people are pulling for you and excited to see what you're going to do, so really appreciate the support. Thanks a lot, Aiden. You got a lot of people in your corner, buddy. Now, here's the deal. Let's jump into the Green Bay Packers very quickly. They're 8-2, the number 2 seed overall currently, even though there are several teams with an 8-2 record. If the playoffs started today, because of division records, they would be the 2 seed and get the first round bye. They have 2 losses. They've lost to the Philadelphia Eagles at home. They lost by 7 points in that game. And then to the Chargers. They just blew them out the door. And the one thing, and we'll talk about commonalities between the 2 games that they lost, and it comes down to tight end production, which the Green Bay Packers have been very bad versus the tight end, and also running the ball. They are not very good against 2 tight end sets and big offensive line sets, and guess what? 49ers very good at those things. Now, their key wins as far as like against playoff teams or possible playoff teams, they beat the Vikings by 5. They won at Dallas by 10 points. They blew out the Cowboys. They beat the Chiefs at home at Kansas City. They won by a touchdown. And then they beat the Panthers in Carolina by 8. The Carolina Panthers seem to be in a little bit of a downward spiral, but their last week results, they're coming off of a bye week. So we have the Green Bay Packers who have 14 days of rest. You never want to play a team off a bye week, but this is where we are. And that bye week has 100% brought about the health of the Packers, who, if you had to rank teams in the NFL that are the healthiest right now. We're in week 12 of the NFL. The Packers are at the top of the list. They do not have any major injuries. Really, they just have two not even prominent offensive linemen or great offensive linemen, but they lost two linemen to injured reserve. Jason Spriggs, their offensive tackle, and Lane Taylor, backup guard. So that's really it. Their team's healthy. Devontae Adams got in a limited work, but he's going to be fine. He played 2 weeks ago and hasn't had any setbacks. So you're playing against a team that is relatively the healthiest team in the NFL. Now, for the 49ers, yikes. Definitely not that way. A couple new things came out of the WordWorks today. Joe Staley and Dee Ford have been officially ruled out. Dee Ford has his knee and his hamstring, so they're going to rest him. And Joe Staley, a little bit of news about his finger. He played against Jadeveon Clowney and the Seattle Seahawks. It was his first game back, and he ended up fracturing and breaking his finger in the very first series against Clowney. And they said that he didn't have to have surgery, but his finger was stuck in the downward position, and it would have been permanently stuck there because of the tendons. So Staley went out, had surgery, got that corrected, and he got a limited practice in today. But he's going to be out. Now, the hopes are that Joe Staley can return next week against Baltimore, but still up in the air. Now, two more injury news. Doubtful players. We have Robbie Gould, which he doesn't really need to practice fully. And again, for a kicker, it's totally different. But he is doubtful, and so is Matt Breida. I doubt that we bring either one of them back. The backups have played just fine, and the running back position, with what we have there, the luxury of the depth in the Kyle Shanahan system, there's no need to rush Breida back. Absolutely not. Even though this game's very important, if you rush these players back, you risk losing them. And we saw what happens if Breida is forced back early. He just re-injures his ankle. It's an ankle issue. Last year, we had nobody. This year, we've got plenty of depth. So there's no reason to force Breida to play this week when you have Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, and Jeff Wilson Jr. We got three guys and Kyle Juszczyk. So we're just fine there. So really do hope that he doesn't suit up, even though I love Breida. You guys know I love Breida. Anyway, questionable, Kittle, Sanders, Debo, all three expected to play. Best news. All three expected to play. Really do expect Kittle, Sanders, and Debo to be out there. Don't think that there's too much on the line with either one of those three starters. They are going to play. And before we move farther, I do want to just take a second out to say that support for the 49ers Rush podcast comes from Manscaped, who is the best in men's grooming, below-the-belt grooming, engineered with precision, precise tools for your family jewels. These guys are the best. And here's the deal. If you've ever tried to trim your nether regions and had an accident, that's why they are here. Their Lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology. That's a lot of syllables. But basically what it means is this. It won't snag your family jewels, and you're going to look good. Accidents are a thing of the past. These guys will take care of everything, and here's what you got to do. Go to manscaped.com. Use promo code 49ers, 49ERS. You're going to get 20% off, free shipping, and if you buy one of their packages, then, I like that term, packages, you're going to get a free tote bag as well. So here's the deal. Go over there, manscaped.com. Use promo code 49ers, and trust me, your balls will thank you. I love this product. Cannot test to it enough. It is a legit product that works very, very well. Yeah, it's awesome. So manscaped.com, just want to say thank you to them. Use promo code 49ers. All right, let's see if we got a couple questions. John, no Dee Ford. Will that hurt us? Yes, it will. We are now into the depth issue, which we talked a little bit about last episode, breaking down the defense. Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead are going to be the prominent defensive ends, and I think DeMontre Moore will spell them. I think that Nick Bosa's snap count and Eric Armstead's snap count will have to uptick just a little bit this week. And then you've got Solomon Thomas kind of as the reserve fourth string end, but man, you really don't want to use him too much on the edge. We've seen that so much, it just doesn't work very well. Let's see here. David, Mr. Chapman, what's wrong with the shirts being so small? I'd pay extra for a bigger shirt. Let me know. Yeah, if you have bought a shirt through NinersRush.com, we got a gear section, and it's not to your liking, okay? Zazzle will return the product and make sure that you get exactly what you want if you're not happy. Now, if you have any issues with Zazzle, you talk to me. I'll take money out of my own pocket. If you are buying a 49ers Rush shirt and it is not to your liking, reach out to me, please. I guarantee I will pay for it myself. I'll send it, whatever you need. If you are supporting the podcast, I want happiness. Don't care about money. That's not why we're doing this. I just want this to be a community that represents you guys. So, David, if for some reason the producers of the shirt are not working with you, just email me, 49ersrushpodcast@gmail.com. I guarantee I'll take care of it. I got you, man. No worries about that. We'll get you what you need. Now, a couple other questions. Can the Niners defense have the same success against the Packers as the Chargers? The Chargers and the 49ers, completely different defensive schemes once you get outside of the defensive line. What the Chargers have done is pretty fascinating. They've basically just deleted the linebacker position. They're almost in a dime situation 70% of the time. So what they want to do is they want to have 6 defensive backs and just run around like crazy. And the reason why the Chargers' defensive scheme works so well is because they pressure with their front 4 as well as anybody in the NFL, with Bosa and Ingram up there, the other Bosa, and then they have a lot of athleticism that can match up very well with running backs out of the backfield. What the Chargers do is weird, very innovative, and the Chargers' offense works great against teams that like to throw the ball. Works horribly wrong against big smash-mouth teams like the Patriots. We saw last year in the AFC Championship or the division round. I forget which one it was. I think it was the division round, where they just smashed the Chargers right up front because the Chargers went light and they just bulldozed them. So if we're just looking at what the Chargers do and what we do similar is our defensive line gets lots of pressure. Now, our athleticism is nowhere near the Chargers on the back end, especially at the linebacker or safety positions. But up front, yes. But no, the Chargers are better, much better matchup for the Packers offense outside of the front 4. So I think that's a negative way to answer your question, but it's what it is. Will the Packers attempt to make Rodgers more mobile in an effort to duplicate the success of Wilson and Murray? Man, I keep seeing this. Aaron Rodgers is very, very mobile. Just 3 years ago before his injury, he led the NFL in back-to-back years at most rushing first downs for a quarterback. Now, the difference between Rodgers and Wilson or Murray is he's just trying to get outside of the pocket to get a first down. That's all he wants to do. He doesn't want to ever get hit. So is he as fast as Wilson or Murray or elusive? Absolutely not. But is he as effective as those guys? Yeah, completely. You go back to his days at at Cal, the kid can move. He likes to run the ball. He's very, very athletic. But the difference is Rodgers wants to scramble. He's a little closer to Wilson than he is Murray because he wants to scramble around and chunk it deep. So they're going to move the pocket for sure because the place that the Packers are vulnerable is up the middle. Their edge protection is great. Their tackles are playing very, very well in pass protection. It's up the middle that's the problem. And so that's where I really think that the 49ers defense is going to be able to exploit Rodgers and this Packers offense because I'm expecting a great game from DeForest Buckner. They are rough up the middle, especially in pass pro. So if you can pressure Rodgers up front, that's when he likes to escape out. It would be a perfect game to have D Ford because he would be tracking him from the backside, but it's what it is. You take it and you move on. Who is the Packers' biggest receiving threat against us? It's got to be Davante Adams, and actually their running back. They throw to the running back as well as anybody in the NFL, but Davante Adams, who has been injured, his stats aren't great this year, but you still have to give it to those two people. All right, let's jump into some of the stuff we got this week. We'll go over our bets of the week here in a little bit, but here we go. History of the matchup. Packers actually lead the series 36-30-1. They're up 6 games on us, and they have won the last 2 matchups. We won the previous 4 before that. So let's focus on their defense, okay? Let's jump into some stats, some trends, some schemes, some tendencies, all those things. Again, this is the Green Bay Packers defense. So what are they good at? They're 6th in forced turnovers, okay? They force 16 turnovers, 7 fumbles, 9 interceptions, so they like to get the ball. They're 9th in passing touchdowns allowed and 14th in points allowed. That's really the only metrics that are above the average. Again, there's 32 teams, so 16 is the average. Anything above that is great, right? Now, weaknesses, they've got a lot, and I had to cut it off because they're pretty weak in a lot of areas as a defense as a whole. 28th in total yards allowed, 27th, and again, this is out of 32 teams, 27th in rushing yards per attempt. They allow 4.8 yards per rushing attempt. So if the 49ers... We struggled running the ball in 3 weeks because teams have stacked the box. The Packers have a choice. Are they going to follow suit, or are they going to stay true to their defense? Now, they're coming off of a bye week, so they could definitely put in some wrinkles to their defense. But with their traditional 3-4 scheme, I don't think that they're going to make a lot of adjustments. I really, really don't. I think this is going to be a game that the 49ers will be able to run the ball, especially whenever you're bringing Kittle back, one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. I think that's going to help as well, allow us to be a little bit more versatile. And if you look at the 2 games, again, that the Packers lost to the Eagles and to the Chargers, 2 tight end sets and just smash mouth football right up the middle. And the 49ers are as good as that as anybody. Now, we're not a... How do I say this? We like to do the outside scheme, but we still like to do it out of big formations, and we can hit those backside A-gaps very, very well. So running the ball should be a concept that takes place this week. Should have relatively easy with that. 26 in rushing touchdowns allowed. They've allowed 11 on the season, so basically giving up at least 1 rushing touchdown each game. 25th in rushing yards and 24th in pass yards per attempt, 6.9. So you can move the ball on this defense relatively easy, and especially running the ball, which Kyle Shanahan, goodness, he's going to have some places of attack. Now, let's go through some of those. Their scheme is a 3-4, very, very traditional. They do some 3-3-5, which means, again, the way those numbers work, 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. So a lot of teams would call that their dime, but what they'll do instead of having 4 defensive linemen with 2 linebackers, they'll have 3 D linemen with 3 linebackers and have kind of an outside backer blitzing off the edge. Now, they love to switch their corners. They either play press man, where they're up on the line of scrimmage, which we hope that they do against us because, again, if you look at Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuel, they are designed to defeat press man. That's why Kyle Shanahan brought them in. But they also like to do what's called off man as well. So they'll switch it up play by play. They'll either play press man on the outside, or they'll give like a 7 or 8 yard cushion and let things in front of them. A lot of that depends on down and distance. So they just kind of vary a little bit, and they have a traditional single high safety. And if you guys have been with us since the offseason, Darnell Savage, one of my favorite prospects in the draft, the safety out of Maryland, 4.2 speed, super, super fast. That's their free safety. So you're going to see him moving around a lot. Now, their defensive tendencies, they do not blitz. They really don't. I only found 1 game so far this season that they have blitzed in the double digits, and that was their last game. They blitzed 11 times versus the Panthers, 7 versus the Chargers, and 8 versus the Chiefs. They just like to bring 4 guys. They don't really want to overload or whatever. They stay in their base kind of groupings, and they don't do a lot of stuff that's really like confusing or whatever. They believe in their defense and keeping everything in front of them and allowing their safety to roam in the back. That's what they do, and they're very weak versus tight ends. So what I did was I went and looked up just how many receiving yards a lot of prominent tight ends got against them, and so here we go. I'll just rattle them off. Hunter Henry, 7 catches, 84 yards. Kelsey, 4 catches, 63 yards, a touchdown. Zach Ertz, 7 catches, 65 yards. Olsen, 8 catches, 98 yards. Now we got Kittle coming back. And so there is definitely some things to look for there. And I really do think whether that's Kittle or Dwelly or Juszczyk, Kyle Juszczyk's not a tight end, I understand, but he's going to be matched up against a lot of those same players. And because of that, I really do expect a big game by those three players. And Kyle Juszczyk is coming off of his career performance where he had over 7 catches, new career highs in targets, catches, and yards. I don't think that he's going to put up those numbers again, but 4 catches for Kyle Juszczyk is huge, and I think that he could hit those numbers easily. Anyway, loving the comments on there, guys. Keep it going. I love it. It's great. Some of the stuff I can't read on here. Kids listen, guys. Anyway, players to watch out for, really just 3 prominent names on the defense. Darius Smith, the linebacker that they got from Baltimore, 57 pressures, 9 sacks. Preston Smith, the other outside linebacker on the other side, 38 pressures, 10 sacks. So, Justin School on the left and Mike McGlinchey, they've got their work cut out for them. McGlinchey has not put forward a really solid performance yet this year. Last week wasn't great, coming off the injury. Hopefully now he's a little bit more healthy and regular. We need him this game because he's going to have these power guys. It's a 3-4 scheme, so they're going to be coming off the edge. We've got to step up against those 2 guys. If you can keep them away from Jimmy Garoppolo, offense is going to have a lot of success. Now, their slot corner, Jair Alexander, he's a hell of a player out of Louisville. 56.3 catch rate allowed. He's got 11 pass breakups and 1 interception. He is always on the ball. So the argument could be made that 2 of the top nickel or slot cornerbacks in the NFL are playing this week, in Jair Alexander and K'Wan Williams. So, these type of guys are playing for Pro Bowl bids and All-Pro bids. Very curious to see how they play whenever they go against each other. Now, some things that we can exploit against this defense, they miss a lot of tackles. Starting corner Kevin King, who's having a great year against the pass, he's got 3 interceptions. He's got 11 missed tackles. Blake Martinez, their middle linebacker, 11 missed tackles. Darnell Savage, their free safety, 9 missed tackles. So guys like Tevin Coleman, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, who's leading all wide receivers in forced missed tackles. Possible big play production there. If you can make that big catch and then make one of those guys miss on the back end, who knows? Who knows what can happen? Also, their defensive tackle, Deion Lowry, who's got a lot of snaps, he gets blown off the ball consistently. You watch that film, and he is constantly getting pushed out of gap, washed down, blown backwards through a double team. So I really do think the 49ers will be able to run up the gut, those A gaps, those backside A gap cuts on the outside zone. There's potential for big plays. There really, really are on both sides of this game. Because if you look at I don't want to jump into what Aaron Rodgers does, but he wants to hit the home run. And with our offense going against this defense, there's going to be a lot of potential to turn these kind of, 2nd and 7 runs up the middle that can explode. Now, the thing is, we've got to get out of predictable play calling, which Kyle Shanahan's great at, so I'm not too worried about that. But we have to force the run game, and if it doesn't work early, we cannot abandon the run game like we have in the past, because you can run against this team. Now, their linebackers are terrible in coverage, both Blake Martinez and Preston Smith. So if Kyle Shanahan can manipulate the man coverage and isolate their linebackers on our tight end or running backs, there's going to be some fun stuff on there. That's all I got to say. So that's going to wrap up our defensive breakdown. And what I want to do now is I want to jump into our bets of the week. With mybookie.ag, these guys are the best. Use promo code 49ers. They match your initial deposit. And here we go. The 49ers are -3 or -3 points versus them. So we're favored. We're the home team. And basically, Vegas is saying we are relatively even teams with a slight uptick to the 49ers because the money is on our side. How much of that is because we're a home team? Who knows? But here are my bets of the week. And before I do that, I do have to read this because this is just stupid. Again, if you've never bet on MyBookie, if you do bet on MyBookie, or if you've been thinking about it, during the upcoming week in Thanksgiving, MyBookie is giving you a free bet of up to $250. All you have to do is bet on the Bears-Lions game and choose a team against the spread. So, like, the spread is how many points a team is favored by, right? The 49ers are favored by 3. So if you pick either team, doesn't matter. Just pick against the spread, not the money line. Up to $250. If you win, congratulations, you get your winnings. If you lose, my bookie's giving you back whatever you bet and lost. There's zero risk here. It's a no-brainer because you can't lose. It's no risk. It's all money. No matter what, you're good. So if you haven't done so already, head over to mybookie.ag, sign up with promo code 49ers, risk-free bet. And again, it's only on that Thanksgiving day. So get your money in there. Once you do that, make sure you get ready to bet. Now, here are the bets that I have put in already this week. Okay, the San Francisco versus Green Bay game, 3 straight scores by either team. I am saying no. We saw it last week where the 49ers, the Cardinals go out and they score 3 straight scores, then the 49ers score 3 straight scores. I don't think that's going to happen because of the offenses on both sides. So I'm betting against 3 straight scores by either team, and it's plus 175. So I'm betting 10 to win 27.5. So how you find that bet, go into mybookie.ag. You click Props Builder on the left side, go to NFL, select the 49ers game, and then you scroll down through those. And again, 3 straight scores by either team. I am saying it's not going to happen. If you want to bet against me, that's fine. But I'm saying that will not happen. It's plus 175. And for my non-49ers bet, just taking one of the spreads, I am taking Buffalo minus 3.5 at home versus the Broncos. I know the Broncos play everybody close, but I don't believe they're a very good football team. And if you look at the trends, the Broncos have only had 3 games this season that were decided by less than 3 points, and the Broncos have 1 road win. Bills have 2 road losses. I just really do think with Buffalo at home, they're going to cover that spread. So I'm taking Buffalo minus 3.5. Really feel good about that bet. I'm going to be putting a little bit of money down on that one. 1, just because of Frank Gore. 2, I want to watch that game because of Frank Gore. And 3, I think Buffalo is a very, very good football team because of their defense and running game. All right, let's jump into just a couple of more questions, and then after that, we will be breaking down the Green Bay offense, which is, let's just, spoiler alert here, Aaron Rodgers pretty damn good. He is pretty damn good. John, let's see here. Will our D-line take over the Packers' offensive line? I think in between the tackles, yes. On the edges, Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead can hold their own versus anybody. So, yeah, I agree with you there. But where we should be able to exploit this team is in the middle. I really do hope Julian Taylor gets starter snaps. He's been great. And penetrating defensive tackles are great against the Packers. Sheldon Day, the kind of like stand up and see what's going on stuff, that doesn't work against this team. You have to get into the backfield and cause problems. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Let's see. Who do you think has the more physical team? I don't think that's close. I really, really don't. Quan Alexander was kind of our punishing linebacker. We don't really have that, but Azeez is healthy. He fits that mold a little bit more. Fred Warner's not really a punishing tackler. He's more of a consistent tackler. But yeah, I don't think that there's, with guys like our offense, Debo, Kittle, Juszczyk, McGlinchey, like those type of guys, we are much more smash mouth. They are a lot more finesse. But we'll see. We'll have to see how that plays out. I don't know. I really do like the matchups for both of our teams, offense and defense, in this matchup. The way this narrative is built, okay, it's the younger coach, LaFleur, who has coached with Kyle Shanahan. He's learned a lot, and he's coached with McVay, and he takes that system. He goes up to Green Bay, and he's doing what he's doing up there, which is great. And their system's very similar to ours, but it is much more finesse-driven. They do run the ball, but it's not near with the mentality. Their fullback is nowhere near what Kyle Juszczyk does. And this is another question, Nick. How does the Packers fullback compare to ours? It doesn't. He's not near... He might be as physical, but he can't do the things in space that Kyle Juszczyk can do. And you see it on film. He's very tight-hipped, which most fullbacks are. Kyle Juszczyk's special for several reasons. One is an intellect, being able to read defenses and get to the open space and know what to do at all times. But also he's mean as hell. And you look at the first play for Kyle Juszczyk every damn game, he is going out and punching somebody in the face. Literally, not figuratively. he will go get a huge hit and then shove him in the face after the play. He's never been called for a penalty on it, but it's pretty damn close because he wants to set a tone. It's a mentality thing of getting after the other team. So as far as Nick, the most physical team, hell yeah. 49ers, I'd take us in a fight every damn day, and you can see it when watching the game. Now, them coming off a bye week, traveling against the number 1 seed in the NFC, who knows? How are they going to respond? How they're going to come out? We'll see very, very soon. What's it going to take to shut up Florio about Jimmy finally? Now, the haters are going to be out there. Even if you won a Super Bowl, they'll say the defense carried them. Just let those guys talk. They are good for the 49ers. Let Stephen A. Smith, who doesn't even watch football, say whatever the hell he wants to. I have him blocked on my Twitter feed just because it's ignorance. They don't watch the games. I don't really care what they think. They're just hot take people. Now, here we go. Let's see. We got the fullback question there. Should we try the pistol with Jimmy and 2 backs with Juice or Kittle? It's not a bad idea. You know, we do 20 personnel where we have the quarterback and the shotgun and 1 on each side. The pistol is where the quarterback basically takes 2 steps up. So instead of the 5 yards back, he's only 3 yards back, and then the running back is behind them. As a defensive coach, I can honestly say I hated the pistol because I always knew where they were going. So whenever I was coaching and I was the defensive coordinator and I was playing against a pistol formation, I loved it because it was always whichever way the quarterback turned, it was a very easy read for my linebackers. So personally, I'm not a pistol fan, but hey, you throw multiple formations out there, I don't mind that. Figure out what works. Shanahan seems to be pretty stuck with what he's got, though, just because it works so damn well. Anyway, is there a reason Shanahan doesn't spread out the offense and wide receivers in order to prevent the defense from loading the box? We're doing a lot of empty sets. Yeah. You look at third downs over the last 3 games, we're running empty sets like crazy. And the reason why they do that is just because if you're blitzing and an empty set, and what I mean by empty set is you have 5 wide, you don't have 1 running back or fullback behind you. You can see where the blitz is coming from, and it's going to be man across, all the way across things. So you get that 1 slant route, and it's just a super quick read. So we have been doing that, but we haven't been doing it a lot on first and second down. What I would like to see, and this is one of the things that the Packers do, we'll talk about this. The Packers have they're second in the NFL in passing on first and second downs. I want us to throw on first down more and run on second and third down more. We haven't done a lot of draws on third. I think we can run the ball on 3rd and 5. I really, really do. Do I think we do that all the time? No. But if I was self-scouting the 49ers, one thing I see, we don't run a lot of draws or just straight-up run plays on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. Instead, we'll motion out to that empty set where everybody understands, okay, it's going to be a pass. So I'd like us to buck the trend just a little bit there, but anyway, so let's jump in then. Let's talk about these guys. The Green Bay Packers offense it's great. Guess what? Aaron Rodgers is playing wonderful. He's only got 2 interceptions on the year. They're second fewest in takeovers in the NFL. They have 5 fumbles lost and 2 interceptions. 3rd in rushing touchdowns. They run the ball a lot. Okay, so 13 total rushing touchdowns. Top 10 in points scored. 11th in passing yards, and 11th in pass yards per attempt. So they are at 6.9 yards passing per attempt. Now, the 49ers are one of the best in the NFL, but, Jimmy Garoppolo last week, whenever he threw for over 400 yards, he was averaging pretty close to 10 yards per attempt, which was, that's Hall of Fame-esque. But even though they don't throw the ball a lot, when they do throw the ball, they're very, very effective, and a lot of that has to do with Aaron Rodgers just throwing the damn deep ball like a madman. You go through film and you're just like, okay, yeah, this plays, nope, never mind, nope, it's not done, and then he chunks it deep. And sure enough, he has 0 interceptions on balls traveling 20 yards or more. He's just a great deep ball thrower, possibly the best all time. Now, things they are bad at on offense, they're pretty much good at everything. The only stat that is below average, below 17th in the NFL, is they're 20th in rush yards per attempt with 4.2. It's not really bad, but that's the only thing that's below average. So, we look at what they do. They're great. And their scheme, it's exactly ours. It's copy and pasted to ours. They don't motion as much. They don't use the fullback as dynamically as we do, but it's our offense. So you're going to notice whenever you watch this, it's us. Now, they were able to keep some things that are a little bit more Aaron Rodgers, so you're going to see a little bit more boot action where, play action where Aaron Rodgers gets outside of the pocket. So you're going to see that a little bit more, but it's us. And their tendencies, they throw the ball a lot deep. And so just in 20-plus yards deep passes in the air, Aaron Rodgers has attempted 52 passes so far this year. That's a lot. If you compare that to what Jimmy Garoppolo, he's in the 20s. So twice as many passes deep. They air it out. Now he's 22 for 52 for 792 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on deep passes. That's just on deep passes. Excuse me. So what you have to do is limit those long plays, and you have to do that with the defensive line. When you get pressure, you got to bring them down. If you break through and you get pressure on Aaron Rodgers and he spins out of your arm tackle or whatever, watch out, because he's going to test our safeties, which is the weak point of our defense. And it's going to be up to Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart out there to stay with their wide receivers for a long damn time. You can't plan for the whole 3.5 to 4 seconds and the ball comes out, because Aaron Rodgers can spin out and hold that ball back there for 6 seconds and just wait. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be fun. It's going to be won or lost when our defense is out there. And that's great news for us, because I do believe our defense is better than their offense. Even as great as Aaron Rodgers is, our defense is the best in the NFL. I truly believe that. We're going to test that this week. So we're going to get to know that right off the bat. And also another tendency thing that I saw, they run the ball up the middle a lot, and they run off the right tackle a lot. So they lead the NFL in yards up the middle. And what up the middle means is on either A-gap. So you have the center, guard, A-gap on that side, center, guard on the other side, A-gap. So up the A-gaps in the middle, they average 5.4 yards per carry. Now, the 49ers combat that, because if we look at us on 3rd and 4th downs, we're one of the best in the NFL, which I'm going to get into that in just a little bit. So some players to watch out for. David Bakhtiari, their left tackle, one of the best. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, who I've talked about, he has 112.1 passer rating without pressure, but when he's pressured, he has 80.9 passer rating. He doesn't throw interceptions even if he is pressured, so that's not a thing. But he has been sacked 22 times. You can get to Aaron Rodgers and bring him down because he tries to prolong the play so much, always going for those home runs. So whenever you're back there, you better capitalize. Aaron Jones as well, 14 damn touchdowns. He's got 11 rushing, 3 receiving, and he has 10.1 yards per reception. That's stupid for a running back, but he is special. It's funny. They rotate their running backs very similar to what the 49ers do. Aaron Jones is kind of the prominent running back. He's the starter. But once they get into the goal line, they don't have a problem using Jamal Williams, who he's got several rushing touchdowns as well as a running back. So they will filter them in and out. But Aaron Jones is kind of the receiving back in between the 20s, and Jamal Williams is the receiving back whenever they get into the goal line. So something to watch there. Now, players to exploit. Their right guard, Billy Turner, has 27 pressures allowed and 4 sacks. I'm telling you, DeForest Buckner can just destroy this game if he wants to. He's got to want it, but it's there. I really do believe that is there. So let's jump in now. Let's do some predictions and keys to the game, the best part of the episode. Here we go. And my key is this. These are the stats that I want to pay attention to. 3rd and 4th down conversions, okay? So let's look at the Green Bay offense and 49ers offense, then we'll jump over to the defensive side. Green Bay on 3rd down conversions, how many times they convert, 3rd and whatever, how many times they get a first down. They 32.7%, 49ers 47.4%. So whenever our offenses are out there and it's 3rd and whatever, they're converting 32% of the time, we're 47% of the time. 4th downs. Green Bay hasn't converted a fourth down yet this season. They're 0 for 3. Their coaching is very, very conservative. They don't like getting behind. They love field position, so they don't go for it a lot. Whereas the 49ers, we are 50%. 49ers on fourth down have gone for it 8 times and gotten half those. So we're 4 for 8. They're 0 for 3 there. Now let's go to the flip side. The defense. How are the defenses on third and fourth down? Okay, Green Bay on third down. They allow 40.5% conversions. They're not a great third down defense. They're also, if you look at them on fourth down, they allow 50% conversions on fourth down, second worst in the NFL. The way this game is outlined, and again, this further proves my point. The 49ers defense only allows 30% of conversions on third down and 15% on fourth downs. So the way this game is built, who can prolong drives? Green Bay's going to get their huge kind of 40-yard touchdown bomb when Aaron Jones out of the backfield and, Aaron Rodgers is running around like a madman. That's going to happen. But what's going to happen, and I think that this is the key stat, the 49ers have to dominate on third and fourth down. Get off the field when you're on defense and keep those drives going when we're on offense, which we've seen all year. So here's my key metric for the win. If the 49ers win the third, fourth down ratios by 10%, they win this game. And so if we just stay with our averages, I really do think it's sustained drives. I'm going to keep track of this, and if you guys are listening to the broadcast over on Hot Mic, we're going to be broadcasting live play-by-play and color commentary Sunday night. It's going to be on NBC. It's going to be the game of the week, no doubt about that. But if you haven't already, head over to Hot Mic. If you have an iPhone, just download that app, Hot Mic app, HOTMIC, and use the invite code RUSHESF, no spaces, RUSHESF. Listen to us. It's going to be awesome. Also, we added a new feature this week where you can chat during the broadcast. If you have an iPhone, the Android app is coming about 2.5 weeks away, so hang in there. And if you would like to listen to the broadcast, you can listen on Periscope. Just going to be delayed a little bit just because it's not as fast of an app. Now, a couple other predictions I got. Here we go. Let's see here. I do think that the San Francisco run games makes a huge return this week. I have us getting 160-plus yards. I think we're going to be able to run it up the middle. I'm so excited. Yeah, Andre, still not for Android. They're working on it. We're trying to get it out there. But again, Hot Mic on the Apple iPhone, they did a new update. It's going to be legit. So not only does it bring the sound in from the TV so you can hear the crowd, it syncs up your TV with us. It's an awesome app. And now you can chat with us. So you can ask us questions during the broadcast, and we can help you guys out with that. So that's Hot Mic. Again, use the invite code RUSHESF so it's free. Now, we will rush for over 160-plus rush yards. Buckner, I'm so excited about this. He is going to get 1 tackle for loss and 1 sack. I changed it. I really wanted 2 sacks and 1 tackle for loss, but I had to back down just a little bit. But I do think Buckner goes off. Here's my prediction for the game. 49ers win a close one, 28-27. It's going to be the game of the week. And I think we score the go-ahead touchdown with less than 60 seconds left. It's going to be close, and I'm even going to call the player. George Kittle, just on a simple draft route, you can call it a rub route, a drag route, whatever you want to call it, going through the trash for a touchdown. That's what's going to happen. 49ers are going to win 28-27, and I just want to say thank you guys. It's going to be a blast. I really appreciate you guys. Lots of positive comments out there. This journey with the 49ers Rush podcast has been nuts. It's over 3.5 years in the making. We got a website now. We've got an app in development where, we're doing the Hot Mic broadcast. We have the Patreon account for the people that want to watch breakdowns. It's pretty cool. And a lot of that is just because of you guys. Really do appreciate everything. And so if there's anything that you guys want, please let me know. Hit me up on Twitter at JL_Chapman, or you can email us, 49ersRushPodcast@gmail.com. We want to make sure we get you guys whatever it is you want. So thanks a lot, guys. And as always, man, we're going to be back Sunday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. And until then, stay strong, faithful.